Good evening, YouTube. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to episode number 12, going live here in just a moment.
Happy Cinco de Mayo tomorrow.
Cinco de Mayo. May the 4th be with you today, and
be with you
tomorrow will be the Revenge of the 5th. I see what I did there.
And Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Let's see what's going to rule tomorrow as far as the Star Wars geeks are concerned. Cinco de Mayo or Revenge of the 5th. So we'll see. Make sure I have my screen up here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I don't have to open a new window. Got to get our song ready, you know.
A new song this week.
Yes, a new song, guys. Brace yourself. Hello, guest 2. Welcome to the chat.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I wonder who that could be. All right, ready to start?
Yeah.
Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Well, hello, everybody that is still with us, listening live to episode number 12 of D&D Sports Chat, coming to you live from the studio here.
Responsible for that?
In Garden City, Michigan. I'm your host, Derek. Well, first of all, yes, it is May 4th, 2016. May the 4th be with you to all you Star Wars geeks. And for tomorrow, it will be Revenge of the 5th. Or Cinco de Mayo, however you want to celebrate tomorrow. But, we got to thank Mr. Dan Bartley, my wonderful co-host, for coming up with that new theme. That is called Tunak Tunak Tun by, how do you say his name? Dollar Mendy?
I'm not going to go for it. But
something like that. Tell us about this.
It made me very happy when I discovered this theme. And I was dancing to it all day.
It caught rain, it caught fire?
I was listening to it in the shower.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
It's just very hip. It makes you want to dance.
I can't.
Brings a smile to your face. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not even making fun of it. That's not even my lingo on this one. I like it.
I don't know if I could break this one out at a famous Derek Parton party.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
The girls,
I want to see the reactions on this one.
Their jaws will drop. I will definitely. I'm sure you and I would play along well to it. But it's got a catchy beat to it, but not something I could work out to at the gym.
No, it wouldn't get you pumped. It gets you giddy though.
Gets you giddy, not exactly.
Makes you want to dance.
It does. It does. It's not a bad theme. I like it. And he's actually a pretty big, large YouTube star. He's got over 1 million subscribers and many different videos along.
I dig it. I was listening to a couple of his songs.
I told you before the show started that he kind of reminds me of like the Indian Psy. Mm-hmm. You know, as far as that. I mean, Psy is obviously way, way bigger, but this guy could be on his way. He could be onto something here. This is interesting. So
get picked up.
Yep. So, before we dive into sports talk, we had a couple things to cover, non-sports related. First time, you actually posted something on Facebook today, which was a random question, but, you know, it definitely will get people talking, is the question of the day: what is your favorite restaurant to go for the best steak?
You noticed something, that there was only one female to comment on that, and that was a friend of mine, Amanda.
Yes.
And the rest of it was all males.
Her kitchen, or if you're Brad Barbie and says the butcher, which I liked. That's nice.
Place to get a steak. You know, obviously you can find a good steak at home. You can go to the butcher and get a steak from. You can go to Kroger's. You can go to John's Market. You can go to wherever you go. Heartland Market. Yeah. And there you go. And bring it home, cook it yourself, save a few bucks, possibly.
I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not the biggest steak fan. I'm very particular. I know. You're a big steak guy. You talk about it. Steak connoisseur, whatever you want to call yourself. I'm more of like a chicken and pork guy, but if I can get a good steak and grill it, I will get it. I'm very particular. I go mainly for ribeye steak because you got to have a steak that it's tender, but at the same time, it's got to have that right amount of fat on it because it won't be juicy.
Okay.
You know, you got to have a little bit of fat left on it.
That's one thing I don't like. I don't like a whole lot of fat, but I get you what you're saying.
You can always cut off the ends of it. You're not losing a lot of meat, but I know I've always been raised around ribeye steaks, and I mean they're not very expensive. You know, usually you can get them I think they run like $2.50 a pound. You can usually get them or whatever like that. So you can usually pick up probably a pack of maybe 2 or 3 for $13.
And I've been hearing all these rumors, and I've seen it on Facebook and I've seen it on Snapchat because you do it constantly. Is that you're a good cook, but you have yet to make a steak. So
yeah.
I'll
I know you're going to kind of take my cooking skills with a grain of salt, but you have seen a lot of my meals.
Well,
which
I have had
tasted.
a few of the Red Wing parties, a few of the wrestling parties that you've had. You have made pretty good stuff. Chicken wings are pretty good.
Yep, the dips.
Some of the dips.
The buffalo chicken dip. You did have that. Yeah.
Yes.
You paid for it the day after, which you're going
the day
to.
after Holy Heartburn City.
You're going to pay for that. Any kind of a spicy dish.
I was sitting in class that
my
morning.
chili.
Yeah, that was good too.
My chili, which
I'll give you credit. For a male that doesn't have
You wouldn't think about it because if you know me back in school, I wasn't into cooking.
No, I don't remember taking a cooking class.
What did it was the crock pot. I'm telling you, when my parents got me a crock pot 2 Christmases ago, it was probably the best gift they could have ever gave me because for a single homeowner like myself that doesn't have a lot of time when works all day long.
You don't want to pick up McDonald's every day as well.
No, and it cut back on that, definitely. Not just in the dieting aspect, but just to be able to, because some people don't have the willpower to actually thaw out meat, let it sit overnight, and then throw it in the crock pot, in the morning before they go to work. Not a lot of people do that. I, on the other hand, I am dedicated, and if I want to have a good meal, if I'm trying to either impress somebody else or myself, I'm going to do that. I mean, I've done everything from soups, stews, to pork chops, to, I've done pasta dishes in there. I've done the wings.
Maybe you should start your own show, Cooking with Derek Parton.
Cooking with Drek. Go by the nickname, whatever you want to call me by. But, I mean, yeah, for something like that, I would need something a little bit better than a camera phone. But you have to invest in that. But there's so many out there. There's actually, don't make fun of me, but I do watch cooking.
I do as well.
I do watch cooking shows, and I stumbled across this very attractive young female. She's Italian.
That Italian show.
Her name is Laura in the Kitchen. Or
okay.
I think that's what it's called. Laura in the Kitchen, or In the Kitchen with Laura, and very professional. She's got a lot of. I think she's got like 3 million subscribers. Her husband videotapes her in a professional manner in their own kitchen, and she makes like Italian American dishes, and they're like really good. And a few dishes I've already pointed out I'd love to make, not just crock pot dishes, but all around, stovetop, oven, whatever. A lot of different dishes. There was one on there. I've been actually joking with some guys at work about a Monte Cristo or Cristo. I was always saying Crisco, like the cooking spray.
About something else.
Monte Cristo, and it's basically like it's an Italian French toast, if you can say that. You basically you basically take 2 pieces of bread and you roll it in an egg batter, and
before you make me hungry.
Yes.
Shush.
I thought you were going to chime in there with something you were going to say, but no, basically, yeah, it's like a deli sandwich, and you use fresh deli meats. You can usually use turkey and ham on it. You make like a double-decker sandwich, and then you put it, some cheese on there, and then you roll it in an egg batter, and then you fry it on the stove with butter, and it's really good. Yeah.
As a guy of decent size, a fluffy friend that I am, I do like a good meal. So it sounds very appetizing, and I do watch Food Network.
Right.
I do enjoy watching that Italian show, as you just talked about. I do enjoy Rachel Ray.
Oh yeah.
Emeril Lagasse, back when he was hot, when he was spicing things up,
right,
and he was throwing more heat to the fire. It was really entertaining. Like watching Emeril Lagasse was entertaining. It's kind of like Bob Ross as far as painting goes.
Oh, Bob Ross! Don't get me started on him. He's a guy that would just give me chills. I could watch for hours on end as a kid. Still to this day, I think some of his shows are, I don't think Netflix, but they're on
PBS,
Amazon as a video. Well,
PBS.
Sometimes you can catch him on there, but I know that, he was a guy you just take that brush and you just take it, and you're in a dark room by yourself.
Clouds.
Yeah. Happy trees. Happy little paintings. Bob Ross was a character.
Now, when you're over at your grandma's and she doesn't have cable television every Sunday, that's what you're watching is PBS, and you're hoping Bob Ross is on there. And sometimes he is, so that makes the time go by faster. When you get like 2 or 3 episodes of Bob Ross.
I think when we were over at your grandma's at one time, we were watching Bob Ross, PBS. I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, she's only got 4 channels.
Yep,
so.
Yep. Got to make the best of it.
Exactly.
But yeah, back to cooking though. I mean, I've had, Chris, he's told me many times, he's like, dude, you should go back to school for like culinary. And
School Prep College has a very good program.
And I mean, I've definitely considered it, but I mean, kind of just like our podcast, it's just like, I wouldn't consider it a special talent. I mean, To me, I guess when you
maybe
can
not for
cook, when you can cook without using proper measurements, and you're like one of those people like Emeril Lagasse, and you can just go to taste. You can season the taste.
Throws it in there.
Like I brought in pulled pork, 14 pounds of pulled pork to work, gone, all of it. Everybody ate it. I had about 20 people, 2 of which wanted my recipe. My parents loved it. I brought them. The secret, though, is not just the pork; it's the brioche bun. A brioche bun goes the best with a pulled pork sandwich. Remember that. Fresh brioche buns. Meyer has them. So from now on, whenever I make my pulled pork, I will not buy the 10 for $10 cheap buns. I will buy the brioche. I will spend a little more to get better quality. That's all I will say.
You spend a little bit more to get quality. That's with anything in life, right?
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
a steak too.
Yep.
You can get a steak at there's a Family Dollar that is right next door to my apartment.
Yes.
And they have a big sign advertised for $1 steaks. Believe it or not, they sell steaks at the dollar store.
Would you ever think about just buying one and just seeing what kind of quality it is?
And I have considered purchasing one.
Yes.
But I figured if I did this, my steak passion that I have for steak would be gone because I would try this dollar store steak and I'd probably throw up.
No, because you want to remember what you paid for it, so you're not going in there with high expectations.
Or watch it be absolutely just stunning and be succulent.
Blow you out of the water and be like, well, I'll be damned.
A pleasant surprise. But I just didn't want to take the risk because, gosh, what kind of cow was that from?
Exactly. I probably wouldn't do it.
No.
You know, I mean, there's.
I had it in my hand. And I was looking at it. And I'm like, no. I'd rather just go to Johnna's or Kroger's and spend $6.99 and get me one that I know is going to be delicious, bang for your buck.
Right.
So there you have it. But as far as the question that I posed, I'm going to give you my answer, and you go ahead. Brands.
I've been there.
I said it. I do enjoy Brands. It is one of my favorite places to eat. And actually, I have my Poppy and Cindy. We went there just recently.
Yes.
And Cindy, and I quote, said this, was one of the best steaks that she's ever had.
Okay.
Poppy doesn't get steak there.
Was it T-bone? Was it ribeye? What was it?
It's a sirloin.
Oh, sirloin. See, I'm not a big sirloin fan.
I do enjoy a good sirloin.
Sirloin, it has to be really, really tender, and sirloin can be hard to be tender, but
like my medium rare. Nice,
oh yeah,
a little bloody.
You gotta not a lot of blood, but just enough. Pink.
I like some.
I like pink. I like medium. Medium is probably as far as I'll go. Like
That's
medium
the vampire in
now
me.
Burgers, I like medium rare, but steak.
Don't burn my burger.
No steak. I'm good with burgers. Burgers, chicken. I don't mess up. I won't give you a burger like Albert's that one night, Danny, where you had to call the waiter over.
Yeah, about flipped it.
I don't know how you can burn a burger with anything. You're always wanting.
No wonder Albert's has hit the shits.
Well, they're no longer there. But yeah, I mean, Brands though, I've never had a steak there. I've had burgers there. They're known for their burgers, and their burgers are very good. I hold Brands dear to my heart. I've been there many, many times. Now, I said Alexander the Great's, and if you're not familiar with Alexander the Great's, which you're not, I'm surprised. You drive by it every day that you probably leave.
Yes, I do.
It's right next to
It's right next to Tim Hortons, where I spend a lot of time.
No, not Tim. The other one.
Tim Hortons,
I know. The other one though, to the left of it. What is that one? That cafe style place?
Cafe.
Yeah.
Used to be a
Fire Mountain.
That's no longer open.
It's not Fire Mountain, but you know that building. I don't know what it is now, but it's right next to that. Right across from Planet Fitness, where we work out. Cartoons is right there, but there was a restaurant to the left of it. But it's right there on Warren Road, between Warren and Wayne Road. They've been there for years.
Across the street from Chicken Shack?
Yep, right across from Chicken Shack, Little Caesars. And they got great roasted chicken. They got very good ribs. I had a steak there one time, and I enjoyed it. Very tender steak.
One time?
Yep, just one time.
So a very small sample size.
It's a small sample size.
I like to go to a place a couple times. You know, I've been to Outback, been to Brands, been to Lone Star back when that was around. Had a lot of steaks in a lot of different areas, and I got to say Brands usually takes the cake for me. As far as
they take their time. As
far as price, as far as quality, as far as juiciness, tenderness, you know, the overall quality of the meat.
Right.
Brands is my ace in the hole.
And I think some people. What about Ichiban?
Ichiban.
Or Ichiban or whatever you call it.
Ichiban, Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah. What do you think?
Very good, but you're not going there for the steak. I'm usually getting chicken and shrimp when I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm there for the whole ding, 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 the show.
Yeah, the show.
It's a good time.
Same with Benihana's, And plus you're getting very small cube-sized pieces of meat, I'm sure, when they cook it.
No, you're actually, for a guy my size, to say that I'm full after eating there, that shows you something. No. I'm full. Like, I'm like halfway through my meal, and I'm like, I'm getting full here. I don't know if I can have much more. So actually, if you're thinking about a place to go, Metropolitan's a place to go. That's actually a fairly good idea.
Guess
Light bulb popping in the head.
Another Alexander's, guest 2 says J. Alexander's has pretty good steak. Now, I've never been there before. Never been to J. Alexander's. Heard a lot of good things about it. That's over in Livonia there off of, I think, is it 8 Mile and Haggerty over by AMC? I believe there's a J. Alexander's over there.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, never had their steak before, though, but I could definitely I'll take a word for it.
Do you remember the old Ryan's?
Yes. Ryan's was over there. Yeah, Ryan's
good.
Was there, too.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but does Dave & Buster's have steak? Dave & Buster's
I've never eaten food there. They have good grilled food, I've heard, but, I mean, they're more known for being like a bar.
Yeah. Dave & Buster's, you're going to pay
I wouldn't eat.
You're going to pay $13 for an appetizer
I
at Dave
wouldn't
Buster's.
eat there. I'll stick with drinks when I go to Dave & Buster's, which is very, very infrequently, but, yeah.
My. No, thank you.
Dave & Buster's, I couldn't tell you. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of variety about, obviously good steaks, and I think this is a good kind of like a question of the week. I guess you can post once a week for our show, and we'll discuss it in the beginning. And
difference.
Yeah, we won't just stick to food because some of us haven't eaten yet at 8 o'clock at night, but
Derek,
we'll leave it there.
Yourself.
We'll leave it there. So before we dive in again to our sports, we got one more unfortunate topic to discuss, which was just posted earlier today. And this kind of brings us back to our Garden City roots, which is
that Dan guy, he's on top of it today.
Yeah, right.
Gosh, gold star.
Yeah, really.
Someone pat him on the back.
Everybody's familiar with Cambridge High School, which is now, I believe, it used to be over there off of Maplewood.
Used to be where they sent us dumb people.
Yeah. Well, the less unfortunate or the slow learners, we'll say, the slow learners or whatever, the dropouts, what have you. It used to actually be located over there on Maplewood, but now I believe it's now taking over the old Henry Ruff.
Yeah.
Well, at about 9:20 this morning, Cambridge administration placed the building on lockdown and conducted an investigation. 2 Cambridge High School students were taken into police custody after 2 guns were found at school yesterday. The students, who are Garden City residents, of course, face expulsion procedures. The firearms weren't discharged on school property and no one was injured. One of the guns was found inside the school and the other was recovered outside on school grounds. This was explained by Garden City School Superintendent Derek Fisher. Fisher said in a statement on the district's Remind system that sends text messages to parents and other subscribers. After they placed the building on lockdown. The investigation is still underway, and Cambridge staff are working in cooperation with local law enforcement officials to detail all of the specifics related to this incident. So, it's unfortunate. This is what happens.
You're
unfortunately.
You're gonna love mine.
Back when we were in high school, which seems like ages ago, it's actually almost been 10 years. But
our reunion's got to be like right around the corner.
Our reunion,
that they're trying to get together. They're going to fall into.
We'll see what happens with that. But back when we were in school, bomb threats were the big thing.
Yeah.
It was bomb threats. I think our senior year alone, we had about 6 or 7 bomb threats.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't remember half the time being in class our senior year.
I know. It was different points of the day. It didn't matter if it was morning, afternoon, to end of the day, whatever. But yeah, bomb threats were a big hit back when we were in school.
Mm-hmm.
Never really, I don't think ever had a problem with guns. But
no, we had a knife incident.
We had
a lot of marijuana incidents.
Yep, a lot of drug busts and whatnot. They brought in the drug dogs. I remember those days, and it's unfortunate because just another tarnish for Garden City, unfortunately. But what were you going to say?
But my thoughts on this is, the situation with the gun. I know everybody's going to look at this and say, oh, it's a gun control thing and blah, blah, blah. Take the guns away and blah, 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 blah. You know how people are. But the thing is students like this, at Cambridge, you can be 18, so you technically could get a firearm, but 21 for a handgun.
Right.
Go to Cabela's if you're curious. I'm not going to dig too far into that, but it's maybe not so much the students' problem, is maybe the parents. Or these students
not paying enough attention and not being on top of what
keep an eye on these
doing.
Students. Obviously, the teenagers are a problem. Cambridge, I struggled throughout high school. I really
never
did.
Went to Cambridge.
I never thought once about going to Cambridge, and I was really struggling. I was put in the special ed program, and I was really slow when it comes to math and all that stuff. It's embarrassing to say, but whatever. It
wouldn't be.
I don't
think you'd be in the wrong crowd for sure. A lot of them, I think, are dropouts or on the verge of dropping. Yeah, bad boys, drugs, kids that just are on the wrong path that need to try to make up credits or whatever to graduate. That's what Cambridge, I think, is all about, or what it's used for. And I just don't think that even
that's what it was back in the day. My
being
knowledge
slow,
of it now is
now it's an actual high school, you know. So They've definitely expanded beyond what it used to be. But this is just it just sucks.
I'm gonna pose something
man.
to you and the listeners here. How do you guys feel about colleges and high schools? I'll even take that next step. Since Detroit schools are in the media right now for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
The whole sit-outs, sick-outs, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to touch on that. For high schools and colleges, there's always situations. There's always, big-time issues. There's threats with, shootings, killings, murders. Why don't you allow guards, cops, whatever you want to call it.
They do it with certain schools.
To have guns.
Yeah. Armed guards. Have one guy at the door, or even patrolling the school halls.
Yeah.
Yep. Licensed gun carriers to do it. I'm all in for it. I think that it's unfortunate that we have to go that route.
Certain professors are allowed to carry.
As long as you have your license.
If you have a CPL, you're responsible. You can carry. I'm not going to go ahead and give the whole right away to students.
It's a trust factor. It's definitely a trust factor, especially. I don't think that they will ever pass that law to have teachers be able to carry. But
no, I think some teachers should be allowed to carry.
I just don't see it happening. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with it. I think it'd be helpful. But I think once again, it's a trust thing, Teachers,
it is
because there are some teachers out there that teachers are in the media just as much as students are, as far as molestation and making sexual advances towards females and male students.
That is very true.
They're already under the microscope as it is.
So there is like a counter to that.
Yeah.
So what do you want to have students? But the problem would be easily solved with just having someone there, cop, some sort of law enforcement, to step in. Take this role, and I'm not saying this is going to fix shootings and killings and anything going on with guns being found in high schools, but it could at least
subside the problem.
There's an eye. There's someone watching.
Yep.
There's a force
that extra
there.
step. It's all about that extra step and what you're going to try to do to prevent this and to keep the kids safe. And back when we were in high school, I don't want to say that we felt more safe because we had less gun and knife instances or incidents. I guess I couldn't say that right. We had less of those back when we were in school. The times have changed drastically. But we lived
Since
through.
We've gotten out of school, look at all the threats and shootings.
Think about what we also lived through. We lived through terrorist attacks. We lived through 9/11. We lived through that Virginia Tech mass shooting. We lived through a lot of significant historical events when we were in school, but whether it be junior high or high school. And not many things changed, but I think that more school shootings where kids have been getting killed, like local, elementary, junior high, and high schools have happened.
And that's the stuff. We're in the
and
city
movie
of Detroit,
theaters too.
And Detroit as a whole, we have such a bad rap.
Yep.
We have such credibility, just terrible, with the whole thing that's going on in Detroit right now. But students not going to school. What does that mean?
Yeah.
That means death. That means these kids are not going to school to be educated for their safe haven.
More
to
free
get away
time
from,
for them to be
So that's free time for them
delinquents.
to get killed, to rob a bank, to potentially do some other harm. You keep these kids, you put these kids in school, get them educated, get them a future. You got to have hope. You got to have something.
You got to pay the teachers too. First things first.
Teachers have to be paid. And
they have to be.
It's unfortunate what's going on right now in Detroit.
That's a whole other mess that we won't even dive into. But I know that when the whole Colorado, the Aurora theater shooting, which happened, that was like 5-6 years ago now. When that happened,
Dark Knight Rises was
yes,
released.
when that happened. Obviously the big question that arose was, do we need to have metal detectors in movie theaters? And it's like,
you can't dress up anymore.
No, you can't dress up. Select movie theaters you can for premiere nights, but the unfortunate thing is, there are some theaters, especially I think out in Colorado, that have implemented that rule. I'm not against it. It is time consuming. I don't want to say it's unnecessary.
You have 5 minutes to catch that movie, and you got to go through a metal detector. No.
If you got to do it when you're going to a sporting event. What makes it so much different in a movie theater? It literally takes 2 minutes.
It does take 2 minutes, but like you wait till the last minute to get to the movies, and then you're seeing a late movie.
If I'm there on a date, I'm going to obviously be on time. But if I'm just wanting to meet you or friends up at the movie theater, I don't care.
That's me. I'm at the movie.
I don't care about previews.
That's my thing. I'm there for the previews. I'm sitting in there. I want a front row seat. I want to put my feet up on the bar. I'm one of those guys that gets there early. I don't care. If I got time, I got time. So I guess going through a metal detector wouldn't really bother me because I'm very punctual to everything I do.
knock on wood, we haven't really had anything go on locally as far as our favorite movie theaters, such as Imagine MJR. Nothing has happened locally. But, I mean, if I'm going out of state or if there's something that's happened at a movie theater that I've been to in a different city or whatever, I mean, whatever it takes to be safer, I'm all for. I take pride in my time, but whatever, if it means going the extra mile, taking 2 or 3 minutes for me to walk through metal detector to make sure I don't carry, or people that are in the theater with me are not carrying sharp objects or guns.
Raw. I had to go through that metal detector twice. And clearly I didn't have anything.
Nope.
We're in line. I'm set the scene for you.
Raw, yeah.
We're in line getting there for Raw. We're there. We're not running late or anything like that. No rush. But I got dragged through this thing. I had no idea what I had because Derek drove, didn't have my keys on me, left my keys in Derek's vehicle. So all I had on me was my cell phone, my wallet, put those in the little cart they give you next to you at the Joe.
Yep.
And the guy's like, oh, please move forward, sir. And I kept walking through, kept going off. And he's like, you got any metal in the wallet? Got any keys on? No, I don't have anything on me. And for gosh only knows, I had a penny in my jeans, and it kept going off.
Jeez.
Because then I was like,
all it takes.
And then I just flicked the penny behind me and walked through it. I'm like, really?
Things that, just the smallest things could make the biggest difference. And sporting events are the perfect places to plan a huge massacre. We've seen it before.
It's very true.
Hockey games, baseball games, football games, basketball games, they are the big four. And, luckily nothing really catastrophic has ever happened, but, never say never. And, but safety is a big concern with me, and I mean, I want to be safe. I want people that are around me to be safe. I mean, what happened to the days where you can just go to a sporting event, movie theater, or even just go to school? You're there for freaking 8 hours a day, and the fact that you can't feel safe in your own school.
It's a shame.
It is.
It's a shame the world that we live in today is
so much hate.
There's so much hate, and you can't accept people for who they are.
And with the technology that we have, I mean, really, it should have, not to sound like an idiot or heartless, but I mean, if anything, these things should have been happening back in the day when there was less technology. We have so much shit that keeps us, attention, our phones, texting, Facebook, Twitter, anything that's technology savvy these days, it should just be able to keep our mind off of this. But, you got parents out there that are blaming the new age music and lyrics and songs.
Video games.
Well, video games have been in the talk for 20 years.
Let's blame that.
Well, that was a big deal in the 90s. Wrestling was a big deal in the 90s for murders, or even, back in the day when the first Call of Duty came out, or
Grand Theft
Auto.
So
that set the bar. But it's going to be an ongoing problem. It's going to be as big a problem as it like racism. I mean, that's never going to go away.
Unfortunately not.
It's not just America. It's all over the world, and it's something that we got to live with. And I've said this from day one. I fear for our next generation who follows us.
Yeah, I do too.
And
let's go on to happier things
here.
Yeah,
let's go on to happier things, and we're going to start off
here that we're tampering everybody.
Yeah, we unfortunately cannot talk no longer about our precious Red Wings because they have been eliminated. But
don't worry, you got the Little Caesars Arena coming.
Yeah, Little Caesars Arena, pizza. But we still have the Stanley Cup Playoffs going on, which means we also have 2, 4, 6. We have 8 teams still vying for a shot at the Cup. And currently, all 4 series are 2-1. And why don't we go ahead and first start off in the West? We'll start off with the St. Louis and Dallas series, which right now, Steve is looking pretty right. We've
for
made
his
fun
bracket,
of him.
I give him credit.
Yes, St. Louis kind of came out of nowhere, but they've always been a team that has been a second round and gone team. Is that they make it to the second round? Back even in the 90s when they were facing the Red Wings every year in the playoffs, the Red Wings would usually oust them in the second round. So the Stars, they're trying to regroup after their Game 3 droobing, whatever you want to call it. But brighter days are ahead because Tyler Seguin will be in Game 4.
Mm-hmm. The issue with the Stars is goaltending. Mm-hmm. They're letting in the end. I mean, they're both just
they're not
awful.
number one goalies.
They're not number one guys. And I think if I'm Jim Neal in the offseason, I'm going to call Kenny Howard and ask about Jimmy Howard.
Yep.
And you're going to probably give Dallas, Jimmy Howard. And here, this
maybe
is
a draft pick.
This is what I'm going to do. Here, Jim. We're going to give you Jimmy. We'll even give you Mantha.
Don't.
Throw us back a couple guys.
You better give me Tyler Seguin.
Throw us back Roussel.
Yeah.
Throw us back another prospect. Throw us back Golgowski too. Those, Golgowski, I do believe.
We want a goal.
We
don't even need really a goaltender because we can always call up somebody from Grand Rapids like Jared
Coro. You got Jake Patterson.
He probably will be if Howard goes.
Thomas
we're probably going to bring. Yeah.
depending on who's back, what happens in the offseason, this offseason needs to be eventful for the Detroit Red Wings, and it obviously will be. How eventful is yet to be determined, but if it's not as eventful as what I'm foreseeing in my crystal ball, this team's not making the playoffs next year. I'll go on a bold limb right now and say that this much.
So you said they wouldn't make it this year.
They didn't deserve to make it this year. They did not deserve to make the playoffs the way they looked. I know I'm not making a lot of people happy right now.
That's fine.
But that's just my perspective on the matter. You can live with it or you can suck it for as far as I'm concerned. But you have to realize this team is not trending up right now. This team is having a hard time getting players to come here. Usually it was because of Babcock. Now it's because of Holland, the crappy Julius Arena. But now that they're expanding, so it's going to be Little Caesars Arena. So next year is not going to be the year for Detroit. 2007, 2018.
Whole new story, whole new home, whole new horizon.
You have to go out and make a splash.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this
because ticket prices will soar. And if you want to make it worth paying $60 face value for tickets at Red Wing games, you better make this team desirable. Make them a winning team again because fans will not support you.
Holding on to hope that Henrik Zetterberg is able to carry this team for a playoff run next year. And Dylan Larkin is another step forward in his. Anthony
CU playing a full season.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks. And this team is just really worries me. There's a lot of concerns.
Yeah.
I know it's very early, and there was a lot of time to be done until summer's over, until you start, obviously winter hockey up again, until you start fall.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of question marks. And I got you. I'm counting on, you go into the season, you're like, well, we're ready. Like we do every year. We're ready. And you're not. And every team is going to be better, but your Detroit Red Wings. I'm gonna make a statement right now and go on a limb and say that's going to be true.
It ends at 25 years.
You're gonna trade away Jimmy Howard. You likely will. You need to trade him away. How can you live with that salary? Because you're gonna have to give a lot of guys money this offseason. Darren Helm's a big question.
Yeah.
Peter Mrazek's due to get paid.
Yeah.
Dana Kaiser. The list goes on and on. You have some free agents.
You got that contract of Datsuk and Franzen just sitting there on the table.
$7.5 million. You have another hit with Franzen. You have another big hit with Jimmy Howard. The Wings got some really garbage contracts.
Are we going to hear the retirement announcement of Johan Franzen before next year? Is he coming back? We all thought that this year was going to be the year, but he got injured right before the season started.
He needs to think of this as his health, his family, and his life. And
he is still a very young guy.
He is a very young guy, but his career, unfortunately,
is done.
He needs to think about this in the light of day and think, okay, what can I really do? I'm one hit away from my career.
You're going to be walking. You're going to be literally skating on eggshells because you're not going to play to your full potential. Because if you know that you have a concussion syndrome and you know that one more hit to the head is very much going to end your career.
And you think
you're not going to be competitive.
And you think the way these playoffs go, Johan Franzen can make an impact?
We all know what he did in 2008, so...
Johan Franzen, I'm sorry. I'm not a Johan Franzen guy.
No, never was.
I want him for his own well-being to hang it up. Thank you for your service.
Yep.
Good luck in your future endeavors. Have a good life. Same thing with Pavel Datsuk. As much as Pavel Datsuk's name's going out there, we got to wait until the World Championship's over.
Yep.
He's another one that's a hot topic for debate. And obviously, people are going to be talking about that until they're red in the face. He's going to hang it up. He's going to go back to Russia. He's
got to accept it now.
You got to face the facts. You got to face fate. If he does come back, he's not a difference maker that's going to propel this team to another cup run.
Not the age he's at. I mean, you could say, he's the ageless wonder. He's the magic man and everything, but I mean, we're better off without him. So,
full-on youth movement.
Yeah.
And no one wants to embrace the whole rebuild.
No.
They're starting over. But
rebuild is, I mean, we all thought that there was a rebuild coming in 2013, and lo and behold, we almost took out the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. The young guys of Nyquist and Tatar, Sheahan, they all stepped up.
But before I get angry, and talk about this Red Wings team that just drives me insane is Dallas. The series that we're talking about, Dallas, is the biggest concern for Dallas for me is goaltending, and it's going to be goaltending. And whether, the easy fix is not this year. Yes, they can go and make a trade and get Howard. But that's next year. Right now, they have to worry about Tyler Seguin's health. You got to worry about, is he going to come back at 100%? Is he going to come back 80%? I'll take 80% Tyler Seguin over anyone 100% on the Detroit Red Wings. That's just me. Mm-hmm. That's what I've seen, and I might be a little bit of a homer. I am a Seguin guy. But Dallas is not done. Mm-hmm. Dallas is going to be able to put the puck in the net. Yes, they've had some scoring issues, but Seguin coming back adds a whole nother level to this team's scoring depth.
I think
penalties is what killed him. Yeah. Roussel, he turned in from a hero to a goat in 2 days. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, very good player, a very good third-line player. Unfortunately, he took a really crappy penalty that cost his team. It happens with his style of play.
But you also got to give the credit to where credit's due, who's leading the series, and that's St. Louis. And I've been kind of, flipping back and forth watching the games, and I'll tell you what, man, Alexander Steen, he's a guy he didn't make a lot of noise in the first round, but I think that whole line of Steen, Stastny, and Brouwer, they've really been able to contain that Jamie Benn, Patrick Sharp, and Cody Eakin line. I think that that is, I think, going to be the stepping stone now. When Seguin comes back, now he's on line with Ben when he's healthy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So who's taking his spot? Is it Eakin or Sharp?
Well, the lines are completely juggled.
Yeah. So you think they're going to – really, I think it should be Ben, Sharp, and Seguin.
No, they spread it out. They put Spezza in.
Yeah, I forgot about Spezza.
Together.
Yeah.
Jason Spezza is another good player.
Mm-hmm. Another guy who's aging, but you still got the best quality in him. Still,
his best years might have been with Ottawa, but he still has a little bit left in the tank.
Yeah, he does.
But as far as the Blues go, what's been interesting to watch is how good St. Louis is defensively.
Yes.
And they have very good goaltending. They're coached very well by Hitchcock.
Elliott, man.
Elliott's very good. Bouwmeester, Shattenkirk, they're very, very good with the puck. They don't very little mistakes. Very good at moving the puck. Good crisp passes.
Youth and fast.
And Tarasenko has really been just he's kind of under the Hitchcock watch.
I think
Hitchcock and him headed out.
Yeah.
And I think he's not playing a whole lot of two-way hockey. Hitchcock's a big two-way philosophy guy. So
sounds like the coach from Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, right. Tarasenko is going to get a swift kick in the rear, and I think that's exactly what he needs. Hitchcock's a very veteran guy, so he's not going to put up with any. I
think Steen's kind of stolen a little bit of his thunder too.
Mm-hmm.
He's a winger, but he's also been a very good defensive player. He's taken over that two-way hockey that Tarasenko was playing in the first round. So, is he playing kind of like in the shadows of Steen right now? I'd say so, and I think that of course it wouldn't hurt him to step up his game. Yes, they're up 2-0 or 2-1, but they could have been probably up 3-0. So we'll see. What happens in Game 4. I think it's going to be a whole new philosophy now.
Dallas comes out with the fire.
They're in Dallas?
St. Louis.
St. Louis still. Okay,
St. Louis.
So
don't quote me on that, but
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think Dallas was the higher seed.
Dallas was the number 1 seed. Yeah, St. Louis was the second seed.
Yep. Yes. So to finish up that series, right now it's 2-1 St. Louis. I say St. Louis wins it in 6.
Dallas in 7.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a comeback? All right.
Seguin is
I think I actually had in my bracket that it was busted long ago in round 1. I believe I
Thank
had.
You, Chicago.
Well, I had St. Louis losing to Dallas. I had Dallas win it in 6, but just seeing what St. Louis has done, I can definitely change my opinion.
Like, no discredit to St. Louis. They're a heck of a team.
Yeah, they are. This is probably next to the Capitals in Pittsburgh. This is probably a very must-watch series that could go 7, just as the Pittsburgh and Washington series could go. But,
both series are likely going 6 or 7.
Yeah, they're likely.
Definitely.
Let's move on to complete the West. We got San Jose and Nashville, and we got San Jose leading that 1-2-1, which is really no surprise. But I got to play a little something here for our Sharks, which was made. I just came across this.
And this is a gem that was discovered by Walt. I'm going to give him credit for my other show, In the Box, Monday nights. And it's 3-1. And here's another thing about the Sharks
Mm-hmm.
is they have it all going for them. They got an awesome goal theme, which I think is
Yes,
phenomenal
I like
right
that.
there.
I like what
I
they
know
did
it might
there.
be a little bit obnoxious to hear 20 times if they score, which
Yeah.
is never going to happen.
No.
But they also had the black cat situation with the
Yeah.
cat going on the ice.
Really?
And-
That's bad luck.
And no, it's not. Not for them.
No?
They have a cat situation that the cat is going to be, I'm sure it's got to be, I think it's flying with the team or traveling with the team, but that kind of cat
It's like a mascot?
is going to get probably adopted. I know it was just like a stray or
It's
something.
a stray cat that wandered onto the ice, huh?
I have no idea how this managed to happen, but the story was all around, the NHL Network and CBC and so on and so forth. But it's a very funny story that how a cat gets on the ice. It's not like a squirrel or something like that gets on the ice on a
Yeah, really.
baseball diamond. But
I mean, it's easy enough to stuff a raw dead octopus in your pants and then just throw it on the ice at a Red Wing game when the time calls for it. But a stray cat wandering into a hockey arena is very, very unlikely.
you might see that at the Joe because the Joe's so old. You never know what's living
coming
in
up,
those walls.
coming up off the streets or whatever. But now going back to this series, well, first of all, this was a series that I didn't have happening. I actually had the Ducks versus the Sharks.
This is a very
I had the
interesting
I had the
series.
Ducks beating the Sharks in the second round, but the Ducks got ousted in 7 by Nashville, surprisingly. But I was right on the upset. There's a lot of people that pick LA. I laugh at you because I had them losing to the Sharks, and sure enough, they did.
Clever.
But I mean, I think that Nashville will give this a good run, but I think that they will lose in 6 as well. I think they'll win one more.
San Jose, it's finally their time with the Boar.
For right now, they are also like St. Louis. They have also been a second round and done team. They've been cursed many years. They went on a string where they beat the Red Wings 2
Get
straight
beat
years
in the first round every
Yep.
year. Yeah, it's,
but they actually had the Red Wings number those 2 years that we lost, I believe, to San Jose. That one year that they were up 3-0 and we took them to Game 7, I believe, or Game 6 we lost. So San Jose is another team that's they're feeling confident right now. They have, they're
San Jose.
Yeah, San Jose. They've been all right. I haven't really watched much of this series as much as I have. I've been kind of paying attention.
It's not the series that's going to get all the publicity.
No.
Obviously, Dallas, St. Louis.
Pekka Rinne's obviously been a great goaltender for Nashville for years. I think he's finally his time is kind of shining finally right now in the playoffs.
James Neal's been very good.
Yeah, James Neal's been good. Not really much that I can add to this. Joe Thornton, I think I had no idea that Joe Pavelski was the captain. I thought Thornton was the captain.
Oh, Derek, you're living under a bus.
I guess I am. I mean, I was talking to a guy at work. Like, I have not paid
Joe
attention.
Thornton was, Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton.
Well, I remember Marleau too.
There was-
Yeah,
It's Pavelski's team. It's Burns and Pavelski's team.
Burns. Yep,
Brent Burns is just
that's right.
seems like he's a character and a
Yeah.
half. And
I don't watch much Western hockey right now because ever since the Red Wings left, I just pay more attention to the East. But these games are also
by
on
the way,
later
the cat's
too.
name is Paul Valsky.
Oh, I get it. Paul Valsky. Nice.
So there you have it.
But to wrap that up, I'm going to go with Sharks in 6. What about you?
Sharks and 6.
All right. Moving over to the East.
Bye bye Smashville.
Yeah. Definitely a good run. This is a team that I don't know, a lot of people thought they would even make the playoffs this year, but now that the Red Wings left the Central, I think that they had a better chance. So good for them. Moving over to the East, Tampa Bay and the Islanders. Tampa Bay currently leads this one 2-1 after being down 1-0 early. This is also kind of an under the radar series where I think also could go 7 games.
Cheering for the Islanders because they knocked out Detroit.
No. Nope.
Or I should say because the Bolts knocked out Detroit, not the Islanders. But the Islanders are that team that I did not pick to go far because of the goaltending situation.
I had them losing the first round
John
in Florida.
Tavares has really came on in this playoffs between Series 1 and now. And he's been a difference maker. He's the leader of this team, and he's going to be that guy. And obviously, Thomas Greiss has not done anything to hurt this team.
Right.
So that plays another big factor. As I thought with Halak going down, this team was going to get bounced in the first round. But I'm very pleased that they didn't. I'm excited that there's a lot of fresh blood, and you're going to see a new Stanley Cup winner this year. I'm glad that Chicago's out. As many years as Chicago and Los Angeles, all these teams that are in it every single year, it would be nice to see a team that hasn't won the Stanley Cup hoist it this year. It may or may not happen. Washington's obviously, the poster child to win the Cup this year, but Pittsburgh is going to give them a fight. And I think that I'm still sticking with Washington, as I have noted. But Washington does have their flaws, and you're seeing Pittsburgh exploit them.
Well, we'll talk about that series next. But as far as the Tampa and the Islanders series, one thing that I found very interesting, and I just read this, I think, yesterday, is that Steven Stamkos, he skated with the Lightning in a red non-contact sweater the other day. This was the day after Game 1. Now, he is, I believe, weeks ahead of schedule as far as even trying to skate. If this series were to go 7 games, if they were even to win this series and go to the next round, do you think you could see Stralman and Stamkos return?
I have not heard anything on Stralman, but I have
Stamkos, I think, is a little further ahead.
Stamkos is indeed skating.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously all the news on Stamkos is where he's going in the offseason. But I'm very happy that Stamkos is skating. I would like to have seen Stamkos play against Detroit.
Right, yeah. Even though he was absent last year, pretty much. I mean, he was there, but he did not make no noise in that series. But his presence. It would have been interesting
to see if what Stamkos would have done.
But
it wouldn't have mattered because Detroit still would have lost.
Maybe it was
in 4.
But maybe, and then you got who they have now with the dominance of Kucherov and Tyler Johnson. And then, of course, you add in Brian Boyle and Ryan Callahan to the mix, and Jonathan Drouin. Just imagine.
Ooh.
Yeah, they did. Just imagine, though. I think it's a lot different when they went from playing the Red Wings, who, obviously Kucherov, who entered this with 7 playoff goals. He leads the NHL playoffs right now with 7 goals, 10 points.
Who would have thunk it? Crosby and Ovechkin are both very quiet.
Yeah, they are very quiet. But it makes you wonder, man. Just imagine if Stralman and Stamkos were on this team right now, the dominance right now that they would be on right now. I got to give that. It's a testament to the depth that Steve Yzerman has built. It's a testament to the skill, to the character, the experience of the players who have remained in this lineup, especially a guy like Jonathan Drouin, who we said before was a cancer to this team. Him and Yzerman didn't see eye to eye. Yzerman basically gives him that questions like, all right, do you want to play or do you want to stay on the bench?
He's playing.
We're not moving you. We're not trading you.
Game situation. He's playing.
He's playing like an elite player.
He's playing pretty well. I think he's really trying to silence his critics, and he knows. Obviously the fans in Tampa Bay, which they do have fans. I know a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, Tampa Bay, that's garbage hockey talent."
They could have had 2 Florida teams battling it out for the conference final.
Jonathan Drouin is a heck of a talent, and if he can put it all together,
Red Wings. Please,
I don't want him on Detroit.
You don't want him here because he wouldn't
no,
fit.
It's not the fact
he
that
would no.
I don't think he's a cancer. I think he's just
he wouldn't fit in with our style of hockey.
He needs some development of.
He's only 21,
personally and on the ice.
He's only 21, and the fact that. This is a guy that you can call him a cancer. You can call him a drama queen. He's clashed with John Cooper. He's wanted a trade. He's been sitting out in the minors. He got suspended. He wanted the trade, didn't get it. The fact that he's only 21, it's kind of a testament to his grit and his guts because he has balls. He's not afraid to speak his mind for a 21-year-old.
A little bit of an ego.
He has an ego.
But if you're a professional athlete, you're going to have an ego.
You got to have that.
You got to have thick skin to do what you do.
But he is backing up his mouth. He is. He's doing what he has to do. He's been a little bit more quiet, I think, in this series, but it's only a matter of time before he gets hot again.
And he did get rocked last night pretty good.
Yeah.
So, you could awaken the beast, I guess you could say, in a way there. Do I want Jonathan Drouin on the Red Wings? Absolutely not. Do I respect him? No, I do not.
Really?
I do not respect him because he's a whiny little boy.
Not your kind of hockey player.
But he is a guy that can make a difference in this league. He can be a guy that can turn into a star. He needs a lot of work mentally. He needs a lot of work, on the ice. But he's taking the right steps on making everyone forget what he did. Because in the world that we live in the sports world and in the world, it's, what have you done for me lately? Oh, you're a good human being? Okay, we're going to forgive for what you did months prior. Because that's how we work here. Forgive and forget.
So as far as this series goes, I'm going to stick with Tampa Bay in this one. I'm going to say that they win it in 6 as well.
You're a wise citizen, Tampa Bay.
You're going to go with them in 6? You don't think this is going to go 7?
I think it could go 7.
I think New York will tie the series. I think they will win Game 4, but I think that the final 2 will go to Tampa.
I think
they have the home ice.
Thinking ahead, like you said with the whole Stamkos situation, if Stamkos is able to play, if Stamkos is able to play in the next series, that's a huge plus. Obviously,
right?
Stamkos at 100%. Obviously, he's not going to be there, but Stamkos in the lineup makes a difference.
Yep.
get your, he's still a dynamic force, but the team's not going to go. I don't see Tampa Bay, if they slip by the Islanders, whoever it may be that they play next is just.
And that will lead into our final discussion about the final series in the East. That would be the Capitals and the Penguins, which surprisingly enough, Pittsburgh has a 2-1 series lead.
Yeah, I didn't think this was. This in my crystal ball.
This is kind of the time where the Washington Capitals, the original Washington Capitals, have choked. Usually it's in the second round as well. They're kind of like another St. Louis Blues, if you will. But Ovechkin, he's starting to, I think, up the ante a little bit.
He's been quiet. So is Crosby. 87 versus 8, the whole, the whole hockey world that the NHL is shoving down your throats, whether you'd like it or not, is Crosby versus Ovechkin. That's what it's all about. And I like the
fact
that
no points in 3 games.
I like the fact that Pittsburgh and Washington both have very good depth.
Yes.
Washington has obviously the best depth in the NHL, in my opinion, but Pittsburgh has really been playing a very difficult game for them to handle. They've been playing Matt Murray, a rookie goaltender. Fleury's been on the shelf, and now he's starting to dress. Who knows what the situation is with Fleury and his concussions? Is he ready to go? Who knows? You don't really know. You don't want to throw him in that situation because would you want to be pressed into a game against a team that can score at will like the Washington Capitals? Absolutely not. But you do have a rookie goalie in Matt Murray who's played his butt off.
Yeah.
But he's going to have that hiccup. Yeah, we've seen it here in Detroit with Mrazek. Murray, I'm not going to compare the two. Murray could be 10 times better than Mrazek. Mrazek could be better than
shots, too. 47 saves last game for Murray.
But Murray is standing on his head right now.
Yep.
So you ride out that hot goaltender. And you hope that he doesn't slip in the big stage. Because one slip, and that's Washington series. That is why I'm still sticking with Washington. You have a rookie goaltender. Ovechkin has yet to get hot. Now you're facing some adversity, losing a couple games.
Now it's time to
Holtby has been
helmet.
beaten, and as good as Holtby's been all season long, he has finally had a little bit of he's
test.
Downward slide now. So now the gut check is set in for Washington.
Yes.
Now you're going to see what they're made of. Now you're going to see if it's the same old Washington, or is it the new breed of Washington that we've seen this year? And I think that this team is still going to emerge on top. It's going to be a great games to watch. Pittsburgh has really handed them their asses in a way in the past couple of games. But the suspension of Orbic does hurt the Washington Capitals. Now you got Chris Letang injured. Chris Letang is a huge player, but he's only out for 1 game. Suspensions, just in the NHL playoffs, I get it. I know that the NHL is not what it used to be.
Right.
And I know that this game has gotten, to an extent, soft. I know the suspension on Orbic is justified. Letang, okay. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
I hate to see an Orbic.
The pussification of hockey.
I call it soft to be polite, but Chris Letang is Pittsburgh's best defenseman. Orbic is not Washington's best defenseman.
Right.
Still big time players. I just hate to see guys getting suspended in the postseason.
I know.
Orbic for 4 games. Yes, he deserves
Cronwall last year.
Yes, he deserves a suspension. Orbic, what he did was very careless and very harsh, and the league came down on him pretty hard. Justified. But be it that may, I just absolutely hate seeing suspensions.
Playoff hockey is a whole different world. It's a whole different attitude, energy,
emotion
pace,
is through the roof,
running high through the veins. It's just you have to let the players play their game. You have to let certain things go. I'm not saying leave your feet to check a guy and make it dirty.
A guy in the face either,
but I mean, you got to let things slide. And with the pussification, I'm going to say it like that. I'm going to tell it like it is. What Gary Bettman has turned hockey and now playoff hockey over these past few years, it's just I shake my head to a tease. I cannot believe how much they've taken away from the playoffs. The energy is definitely it's there. We saw some obviously bloodshed and fists flying in the Detroit-Tampa series, but that was only the first couple of games. After that, the series
there could have been a lot more.
The intensity level went from up here to down here very quickly. And I'm sure that
Justin Advocator, for the record, Justin Advocator has lost a lot of respect for me. He went to a Justin Bieber concert.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wore a Justin Bieber shirt.
Just days after getting eliminated, by the record.
That's a disgrace.
It is.
That's an absolute
Toss.
disgrace.
Give me your man card now, Justin. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Over Anyways, to wrap up with our hockey segment here, I think that the tide could be turning for Washington only because of what happened in the third period of the last game. Ovechkin got a goal, had an assist. He fired 5 shots on the net. He's, I think, peaking at the right time, whereas I think the pressure is more on Crosby because he's still goose egg through 3 games. So, yes, you're lucky to hold a 2-1 series lead, but I am going with the Capitals in 7. Thank you very much. And they will advance.
Ovechkin is obviously, like I said earlier, 8 and 87 are the 2 big players that have been hyped and shoved down your throats throughout this whole series. And there you have it.
You're going with 7?
Caps in 7.
And it's going to be a very,
Matt Murray is going. If Matt Murray,
the difference maker.
I'll say this much for Penguins fans: if Matt Murray is able to maintain what he's doing now and not have that hiccup that I'm expecting him to have in Game 4 or 5 or 6, whatever it might be, Pittsburgh does have a good chance of beating Washington. I'll say that much.
It won't be a huge upset. These have been teams.
Anybody beating Washington is going to be,
Well, Washington has just been dominating the whole entire standings from the beginning of the year till now. Pittsburgh peaked at the very end of the season. They were a team that was playing 500 hockey, back at the All-Star break, and they really kicked ass to get themselves into a higher playoff seed, to get them ready for playoffs. And we've seen this happen before. We've seen Crosby versus Ovechkin. It's nothing new. It's been done in the playoffs, and I believe that the Penguins have had the Washington Capitals number many times before.
Crosby usually gets the better of
Ovechkin. They also have the Stanley Cup ring to prove it. So, I think it's going to be gut check time here for Game 4. And at the same time, though, I think that unless Crosby gets hot, I think they're going to figure out Matt Murray.
You'd love to see a fight between Crosby and Ovechkin.
No, it won't happen. Ovechkin
obviously
would
not. But
Ovechkin would instigate it. Crosby would just kind of run and hide like he always does.
That would really, for a hockey fan like myself, give me great enjoyment.
Yeah.
But for Gary Bettman and some of the NHL high ups, they'd cringe seeing the 2 golden boys of hockey fighting.
Yeah.
But I'd love every minute of it. But that would be playoff hockey, and that would be just phenomenal to see. Just in my own little world.
So that is our predictions for the second round, and in about a week or so, maybe not next week's show because the second round still might be in action.
Never know.
We will see how we might have all these games finish up in 5. Who knows? Highly doubtful, but we will update you next week on how the series are looking, and we will then give you our predictions for round number 3. With that being said, moving on to our Tigers segment. I bet you're wondering how the Tigers fared tonight. Well, they got shut out 4-0. Corey Kluber pitches a complete game.
We just seen Corey Kluber. You just witnessed Corey Kluber, and yet the Tigers. And here I go again. Okay,
5 hits apiece
is what everybody says. Is the Tigers have hit Jose Fernandez and Dallas Keuchel,
and they're playing a sub 500 team in Cleveland after they just went on a 5-0 streak. They've now lost 2-0, and that's your Tigers for you. Corey Kluber
inconsistent
has now 17 strikeouts and 1 run allowed in 17 innings versus Detroit in his 2 starts against Detroit.
Gosh,
killing him, Corey Kluber.
Just hit you like a shot.
The funny thing is that overall he hasn't really pitched that great this year. Out to a slow start. His ERA, I believe, is like just a little bit over 4 right now. But
Cleveland owns Detroit.
They do. Cleveland
does.
And
Justin Verlander needs to just
forget
not show
about
up.
it. Yeah. Congrats to Justin Verlander and Kate Upton on their engagement announced a few days ago. But you gotta get your mind off the hoe and get your mind.
Easy. I'm gonna touch on this.
Get your mind on that.
It's been all over social media.
What matters most
is Justin Verlander is now locked in with her.
Yep.
More power to him.
Distractions.
It's not a distraction. If he goes to now that they're tied, they tied the knot. Engagement, gonna get married, gonna go on and have a happy life together. He doesn't need to worry about what she's doing. Likely, she's at probably half of his starts because she's always on camera because the cameraman's gonna find her. Let's face the facts. But pitch well.
Yeah.
The Justin Verlander Vold, we're not gonna see.
Well, we're not because the velocity has changed. He's aged. He's now into his 30s. Justin Verlander, is right now at best probably a 14 to 15 win pitcher. And right now at the start he's having, I've been kind of proven wrong. It's early. He's only had 5 or 6 starts, but I've not seen a lot of change. I thought that we were going to see the Justin Verlander that carried on from last season.
His post-game interview was very intriguing to me last night as he said that he's on the verge to he's going to be dominant yet again.
I heard the interview.
And I did I do like that.
He's trying.
He's got Justin
drive.
Verlander, he's always had that cockiness to him, which
Yep.
you can either love or you can hate.
Depending on who you are.
But the whole thing now is what drives me nuts about Verlander is there's so much emphasis put on his life outside the diamond.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that when he takes the ball every fifth day that he's thinking, oh, what are they saying about Kate right now on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's Justin Verlander.
You put that in the back of your mind quickly.
You're a professional athlete.
Yes.
You show up to the ballpark on
Yep.
every fifth day. You take the ball, and your mind needs to be on shutting down the Cleveland Indians, the Chicago White Sox,
Whoever
whoever
your
it might
next
be.
opponent is. Yep.
Now, Justin Verlander is a professional. Obviously, he's been in the league now for several seasons. He's had some remarkable seasons. Is he worth the $27 million a season? He's getting absolutely not.
No.
But why I'm encouraged is because he's married.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think that this is a really weird way of thinking. But now he doesn't have to think about all the other issues,
Yes.
the distractions that people are constantly asking him in post-game interviews. What's Kate doing? Are you and Kate getting married? What's going on? So, in a way, yes, Kate could be a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you got that said and done, concentrate on pitching. I don't know what the problem is with Verlander. His stuff, he's not locating his secondary pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the velocity's down. He's not throwing as hard as he used to, but that comes with age. He's no longer 27, 28 no more.
No.
He's past the prime of his
Best
career.
years are behind him, but he can still pitch at a competitive pace, and he can still control his velocity.
And here's something else I'm going to throw to the world right now, is what I've seen and what I don't like from Brad Ausmus. And here I go again, targeting Brad Ausmus. Justin Verlander has seen every single Tigers catcher in the organization this year.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Wilson, Jared Saltiamacchia, James McCann, pardon me. The fact is there's no connection.
No.
You need to have, and this is just my way of thinking, he can't find the right rhythm. With Bobby Wilson, everything was being shaken off. Bobby Wilson does not know what Justin Verlander throws. McCann, on the shelf.
That's why if you look.
Saltiamacchia, yes, he's new to the organization.
And he's been a huge offensive powerhouse.
Yes, he leads the team in home runs. That's great. But as far as the catching standpoint goes, Justin Verlander is not familiar with him, and Saltiamacchia is not familiar with Verlander. So they don't have the chemistry there. No. That is a big flaw. That is what I'm going to – and I'm not saying Justin Verlander has been lights out.
That, but, yeah, you're right.
That is something that I can credit and attest to this, too, is the unfamiliarity with the catcher. I think Bobby Wilson, now he's traded to the Rangers. Saltiamacchia. Yeah,
now McCann's back.
McCann is back, so it should be interesting to see.
We'll see. Give him a couple more starts with McCann and see if they can work out something. But that's why Justin Verlander was so successful back in his World Series runs, because he had Pudge.
You're throwing a Pudge every day.
Yeah, he had Pudge, and then he had Alex Avila.
And Alex Avila, to his credit, couldn't hit a lick.
But he was a damn good
was
catcher.
Below the Mendoza line half
Very
the time.
Good catcher.
But he could catch, and he could frame pitches better than most catchers can. And with Pudge was just, hey, he's gonna throw down one finger, two fingers, three fingers, wiggle.
Pudge was,
throw that pitch, and Pudge,
he was the head of the battery.
Pudge was just that captain. Slapped the C on his chest because that's Pudge.
Oh yes.
Now James McCann has that mentality. And we've seen that last season with the whole incident with Iglesias.
Right.
So I like a guy that's got a little bit of fire, will command leadership, will demand it, is going to be the leader of that clubhouse. James McCann could be that guy.
He could be.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Justin Verlander's next couple starts. He's got the whole engagement thing out of his head. And now he can focus on just pitching. And I hope the fact that he can start working in some of these secondary pitches, the curveball, the changeup. The changeup has to improve for Verlander. I was watching one of his starts, and I DVR'd it because I pay close attention to Justin Verlander's starts, is the changeup. You got to start throwing more strikes. He's missing the strike zone. It's not mechanically, which is another Tigers issue, is Anibal Sanchez. His mechanics, he can't decide if he wants to do the twist and throw or the just whatever Doobie's trying to have him throw. It's not working. Anibal Sanchez, obviously, he's walking a ton of guys. He's giving up the bombs.
Yeah. We're not seeing the ground ball Sanchez that we are used to seeing.
So there's a lot of issues. Besides Zimmerman,
Cy Young worthy right now. My God.
Player of the month.
Player of the month, MLB.
Besides Zimmerman, you look at the Tigers' rotation, you're going, oh, man. Oh, this is ugly.
Yeah.
And years past, you're like, wow.
Our bullpen's actually been probably better than our rotation.
You look at the Tigers' rotation from years past, and you go, wow. Verlander, Price, Scherzer.
It was jaw-dropping.
Fister. Oh, man, that sounds like a good five.
It was. We had the best top five rotation.
And the bullpen was always very,
now it's
hopefully
the roles
these
are
guys
reversed.
are 7. Now the rules are kind of, the bullpen's
K-Rod's now, I think, since he shook off that opening day blown save, hasn't blown a save since. He's had a couple close encounters.
He was going through some family situations.
Yeah, I think the family
put
that behind him, and I think that we're going to start seeing him. I said this is a guy that could get you 40 saves or more. I mean, and I think that I said he'd probably blow about 5 or 6, which, he still only has one.
He likely will.
Yeah, he will, but... as long as you can get that ERA that's around the 3 range, I think that we'll be good with that.
Now the bullpen is always a concern for the Detroit Tigers. It has been for many, many years prior. It's probably going to hit a
speed bump.
Yeah, as you said. Thank you. That is going to happen.
Whether it be when it gets
warmer
or
just hope that the bats are
awake,
going at all cylinders.
Yes.
And then you have right now guys who are contributing, and you have guys that are not contributing. Now, if you're looking at the bottom of the order with Iglesias, I'm very encouraged with the fact that he just doesn't strike out anymore. Iglesias, I can't remember the last time I've seen him strike out, which I did not watch tonight's game, so he probably could have struck out 4 times now that I'm saying this. But another strong, encouraging sign is Victor Martinez.
Yep.
He seems to be pulling the ball to all fields, seems to be going to right field. You got the pop. Upton is still a question mark, and I'm still going to say with my strong, bold prediction that he's going to strike out close to 200 times.
Yeah.
You might call me crazy, but I'm going to stick with my gun on that one. What do you feel about the lineup? Is there a big bat missing? Is there something wrong with this team? Is Nick Castellanos is the biggest bat. He's most consistent.
He was another one, AL Player of the Month.
But the thing is with Castellanos is he's going to cool off.
Yeah, Castellanos.
Kind of like Trevor Story.
It's nice to see
Colorado.
a guy like Castellanos at the top of the major leagues in batting right now. I think he's still hitting like a solid 350 something. But
I know he had a hit tonight against Kluber.
Yeah, I mean, he's surprised. JD has been good. Victor, hit or miss.
Victor's been very good. Now I think Victor he's up in the 300s. He's healthy. Now you're going to be playing Washington the next week in Washington, I do believe.
Yeah.
So
you gotta incorporate him. I mean,
I don't know what the Tigers are going to do with that because Nick Castellanos, he's still sitting in the hot
you can't
stick.
move Miggy to third, and you can't put Victor at first. You can't take Castellanos out, but you gotta. I don't know what you do, man.
Personally.
Don't catch.
I'm not Brad Ausmus, but obviously you're not going to catch Victor because that probably just put him on the DL instantly.
Yes. Oh, I blew my knee out.
What about this is not going to be popular. Putting Nick back where his old position is. Throw Nick in left and have Justin Upton sit.
The strikeout machine. You won't see this.
No, that's not going to be a very popular decision. This is a Dan Bartley decision.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that I can manage this team or anything like that, but give me some props.
Oh, God.
I'm only kidding. I'm feeding my little small ego that I have. But Castellanos, obviously, probably not the strongest third baseman. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Ausmus agrees. He takes him out.
The offense has definitely been making
7th,
up
8th,
for
9th inning.
Yeah.
Romine's playing third base for your Detroit Tigers in a game.
His errors are up there a little bit.
So, obviously, Ausmus doesn't really like what he's doing at third base because he pulls him out of the game.
So, you want to move Miggy to third and put Victor at first?
Yeah.
Is it a 4-game series against Washington?
I believe it's I think it starts next Monday in Washington.
3 games? I think they start off 3. We'll see.
And you're going to be facing Scherzer. You're going to be going against Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So you're going to give up a few runs.
We're going to see Strasburg.
Strasburg pitched today, so
yeah, it'll be one of them. Yeah.
So
you got to take 2 out of 3.
You need to have your best lineup and your best foot forward.
Yeah.
So.
But this is a Tigers team, though.
Upton is struggling.
This is the Tigers team, though, that can hang with the good teams. Kind of like, with the Red Wings, kind of like how they were. I mean, or even teams like the Pistons. You play and You can always beat the damn good teams, but you can never beat the bad ones. Just like with the Tigers, they're about to be swept by Cleveland.
I know
they're 500.
They're not getting swept, but I am concerned. I'm very encouraged with the first start of Michael Fulmer, and I did have the privilege of watching that game.
It was a good game.
And he did look good. 96, 97 plus, good slider. Needs that third pitch. Needs that changeup to be an elite pitcher in this league. I have the mantra of you need 3 pitches to be a starter. Just ask Jeremy Bonderman.
Yes.
Jeremy Bonderman had a great fastball, one of the best sliders in baseball, but had nothing for that third pitch, and you've seen what happened to Jeremy Bonderman. Great slider, great swing and miss pitch.
He didn't have the complete
but didn't
package.
have that complete arsenal, and I hate to quote a certain Tigers broadcaster that's on the radio. The arsenal of Jeremy Bonderman was lacking.
Yes, it was.
So if Fulmer can develop that changeup,
and then
there you have it.
And then
he is potentially a top-of-the-line guy because I think that Mike Pelfrey, that whole experiment needs to be cut short at the All-Star break.
Wait till Daniel Norris comes back, too.
And Daniel Norris got rocked in his last start with the Toledo Mud Hens.
Oh, he's still working on something, man. He's injured. He's working on his mechanics right now, and just something's not gelling with Daniel Norris right now. But once he has it all figured out, once he can get his pitches in line, I think he could be a pretty good stake in this lineup or in this rotation.
Not this year.
Next year we'll get.
I don't think that Norris could be potentially a
go live in the van down by the river.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe a September call up.
Yeah, maybe if we're desperate, if we're in the
Moya.
playoff hunt. Yeah,
Steven Moya's been hitting some bombs.
Steven Moya was great winter ball.
Unfortunately, though, for the Tigers, the rotation is the biggest cause for concern.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the offense with the 1 through 9. What you have that you display on every single day, if everybody stays healthy, is going to start hitting. The Tigers lineup, it's just got too much depth.
Mm-hmm.
1 through 9.
Are we going to see Cameron Maben ever this year? Mr. Glass himself.
I thought that was Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Anthony Ghost has been a pretty good.
Oh, don't get me going on Anthony Ghost. Last night's game in center field, Anthony Ghost was atrocious. He is a defensive liability. Anthony Ghost, the Tigers. Anthony Ghost can hit. He hits in these.
He hits bombs once every 5 or 6 games.
390-foot home run to right field, but I don't know if he's playing too shallow or what it might be.
Not agile.
But he's not a good center fielder. And a guy that has so much speed, you'd expect him to be...
Should you switch him and Upton up? Have him play left and have Upton play center.
I guess that is an idea.
More ground to cover, more speed, I think, from Upton than Ghost.
Is that Comerica Park is very spacious.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Comerica Park's a big outfield.
Yeah,
so you want to have a guy that has some range that can go and get the ball. And Anthony Ghost, I think, lacks. He's not a good center fielder. In defensive metrics, if you want to Google that and you want to say that I'm wrong, go for it. Google it. Defensive metrics, look up Anthony Ghost. Yeah, point proven. But not good in the outfield.
I'll take your word for it. I haven't really studied Anthony Ghost too much, but I mean, obviously,
I know Steve Iwinski absolutely adores Anthony Ghost.
No, he doesn't. Steve does not like him.
I'm being facetious.
Yeah, no, Steve hates Anthony Ghost, but then again, it's like the best you have until Cameron Maben comes back, which will be like never, ever, because he is made of glass. So that was a pickup that's been wasted so far. So,
but he's rehabbing.
Yeah, well,
he's rehabbing.
Yeah, Well, once he gets on a rehab stint and he's ready to get called up, then he re-injures himself. So I have no confidence right now in Cameron Maben, as I did 7 years ago when we got rid of him for Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, that was a horrible trade, right?
Jeez. So, that being said, the Tigers, they'll find something. They're playing 500 baseball right now, but at the same time, it is still early May.
Going outside the box, have you paid any close attention to anything in baseball lately? Besides your Detroit Tigers. What's the hot topic right now?
Story?
Yeah,
it's dying down a little bit. Is it a certain player?
No, it's teams, and it's teams right next door to us in our backyard, basically. Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, Chicago.
Who
did I predict to win the Central?
Could you foresee a Chicago White Sox Chicago Cubs World Series? Wouldn't that be dandy?
Would that be dandy? It's definitely possible. it's early in the season to tell. But wake me again in September.
Exactly. And
all those teams, I can definitely see. I think Chicago, White Sox staying hot, but the Cubs
won their 20th game today.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates out of PNC Park.
Pirates are garbage right now. But with what the Cubs have been showing, I mean, yes, they are, I think, a team that's kind of on a mission right now. What Theo Epstein has done over there is phenomenal. Young talent, great pitching. I think that they're a team that could, obviously, they're probably going to make the playoffs this year. The White Sox, just because I want them to do so good, because I expect them to win the Central, which I think they will do. Man, I don't think they could make it, a deep run in the World Series. I think they'll make the playoffs. If not as a division team, they'll make it as a wild card, but I don't see them making past the first round.
Another surprise is a team that I thought would be very successful this year with Correa, with Keuchel, so on and so forth, McCullers, McHugh, and they've just absolutely crapped the bed is the Houston Astros.
Yeah. They've proven that last year was a fluke.
It's too early. I still Dallas Keuchel hasn't been as good as advertised.
An ace that you were talking about, that we could have.
But when he did face the Tigers, he was spot on.
Weren't we calling him potentially Cy Young worthy?
I thought Chris Archer would be a Cy Young. Chris Archer is winless. I do believe Chris Archer hasn't won a game so far for the Rays.
Something's not clicking over there. And 9-18. I mean, that's that's really that's the old Houston Astros type record. I mean, right now there's a lot of digging out of that hole right now for Houston, but they're lucky it's early. They're facing the Twins right now. They're currently leading 6-3 in the top of the third inning. So, I think that they're a team that's, I don't know, man. If they're going to make the playoffs this year, I don't think they will. I think they're going to miss it.
The AL has the strongest divisions. Besides,
they do.
The AL Central has a great division. The AL West is pretty weak. The
West right now is surprisingly weak. I mean, a team that we thought that was going to be up there, Athletics and Angels, they're not. They're at the bottom.
Athletics?
With the
You picked the Athletics?
No, Athletics are a team they're a team that kind of always just hangs around
2007?
there. Well, they're a team. Well, not even that. Just, they lost to the Tigers out of the playoffs just 2 years ago. This is a team that usually hangs around and wins about 90 games a year. But the Mariners, surprisingly enough, are right now leading this division. The Rangers are hanging tough, but Anaheim Angels. Weren't we talking about old Mike Trout? How he's never going to win a ring if he stays with Anaheim.
That was a crazy prediction that I made several weeks ago. That until Trout leaves the City of Angels,
yes,
then he will not receive a ring, and I still will stick with that. Unfortunately, Trout is kind of the saving grace over there and puts butts in the seats and is MLB's poster boy for obvious reasons. No World Series ring until he gets traded to
the Yankees.
The Yankees.
The three-headed monster.
Unfortunately. The Yankees are another cause for concern.
Yeah.
Is everybody's all jumping on the Yankees bandwagon, before the season starts because of obviously the three-headed monster in the bullpen, but the starting rotation can't hand the ball to them. They can't get out of the fourth and fifth inning. Luis Severino has been shaky at best. CC Sabathia is not CC Sabathia.
Right.
Obviously, now with his drinking problems cleared up. Good for him in his personal life, but as far as what he's done on the mound has been absolutely terrible. Tanaka, you don't know what you're going to get out of Tanaka, whether he's going to be an ace or he's just going to be simply just a 4 or 5 inning guy, not going to get you deep into games. So the Yankees, there's panic in the Bronx right now if you're a Yankee fan because A-Rod's on the shelf. Jacoby Ellsbury can't seem to play back-to-back games.
But this is what you're going to get with an aging lineup. Probably the oldest lineup in the major leagues right now. An average age of 32 on this team. When you got guys like Ellsbury and guys
your
like
best hitter is
and
Brian McCann. Brian McCann is your best hitter. Is your catcher. So there you have it. That tells you right there.
He's no Joe Mauer by any means. Old Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer. Don't speak too poorly of Joe Mauer. He's reached base in every game the Twins have played.
Yeah.
Not the power guy.
An ageless wonder, possibly.
But Joe Mauer has really reincarnated his career over there at first base. Good for him.
Yeah. If that's what you can do to kind of take years off of your career, or at least extend your career a little bit. If it's not playing DH for you because it wasn't working out for Joe Mauer, then be a first baseman. So,
is there any stories that you've seen recently in baseball that you're intrigued by?
Honestly, I haven't really been paying much attention to baseball. I kind of let you kind of carry the reins for baseball. Hockey, I still stay pretty glued to because it's playoffs. But with baseball, I can honestly say that I've really not been paying much attention aside from the Tigers.
Oh, today, I'll give you a quick one.
Yeah.
Murphy, that Murphy guy that was so hot in the postseason last year for the New York Mets.
David Murphy.
Who now resides in Washington.
Yes.
He had 3 bombs today.
Wow.
A very, very solid season.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a guy that I thought was possibly overpaid and a guy that could have been a possibility of a fluke. But
yes.
Since putting on the Washington Nationals uni, he's been pretty good for Washington. No complaints, I don't think. And you're going to see him very soon. The Tigers are going to see him. And I'm going to count on probably a few bombs against the Tigers pitching staff.
Yeah, depending on who he's facing.
And I really hope that Jordan Zimmerman does not face the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the pitching matchup lines up right now, but I'm really hoping he doesn't face the Washington Nationals next week. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, face your former team and show them up, but I just don't want to see Jordan Zimmerman face his former team.
Zimmerman, it's almost too good to be true. I mean, he's going to slow down eventually. He's going to return to earth, but do you see the carrying on of a potential Cy Young run here all the way through the season?
No. I see Jordan Zimmerman
20 wins?
No. I see him winning 15 games, maybe a little over. The biggest concern for Jordan Zimmerman is that this team is not giving him a lot of run support.
He's pitching.
I think that
his pitching is showing off over than the offense.
The pitching is there, and he's going to be the guy at the top of the rotation, but he obviously can't pitch every single day. He's a horse, absolutely, and he's been the guy. Just think of the rotation without Jordan Zimmerman in the rotation. Mm-hmm. Imagine, Jordan Zimmerman was not supposed to be the ace of the staff. That was supposed to belong to Justin Verlander. Jordan Zimmerman's been a very pleasant surprise. If you would have made your prediction who would have the most wins and who would maybe potentially have Player of the Month honors, you'd be thinking it was Justin Verlander or possibly another Tigers pitcher, Anibal Sanchez, who went tonight.
Yeah.
Not Jordan Zimmerman. Jordan Zimmerman's been a very good surprise. And I expected Jordan Zimmerman to not be as dominant as he has been so far this season, but it's been amazing. And I'm going to still run with him and still continue to support what he can do and hope and pray that he can continue his run, because the Tigers staff right now, if Jordan Zimmerman decides to tailspin,
yes, this
is definitely could be another washout year. If Jordan Zimmerman decides to just, doesn't have my best stuff every 5th day, but he's a bulldog. He hasn't had his best stuff in a couple starts that I've seen, and he was able to compete. Didn't give up a run until recently. So it's a very encouraging story, Jordan Zimmerman right now.
Yeah, it is.
And just imagine where the Tigers
are keeping the excitement around here in Detroit anyway.
There's still hope for this team because of Jordan Zimmerman, because he's not in the rotation. The Tigers have a very, very pitiful looking rotation.
Those are 5 wins. Those are 5 wins that you take away, and we'd be well under 500. So he's making a lasting impact. But yeah, that's the big question: is can it score? Can it go? Don't want that yet. Will it extend though? Will it extend long term? And yeah, I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say 20 wins right now. But I mean, yeah, I'm going to go around that 15 to 17 win plateau. I think that it's definitely attainable with probably a mid 3 ERA. I think he's going to probably have like a rough month eventually. Let's hope not, but
you want to hope he continues to just.
You can only carry a team on your back.
Lineups.
Whether you're a pitcher or you're an offensive specialist, you can only carry a team on your back for so long before you just kind of get burnt out, and then you start to kind of dwindle. Your numbers start to decline, and you go through a slump. And if this team doesn't pull their head out of their asses and start putting up consecutive wins like they were just a few nights ago, then you're going to kind of stop playing. You gotta play your own game, but at the same time, if you're not getting the run support like Jordan Zimmerman. What does he get? Like 3 runs, barely 3 runs a game, or per start?
He's only needed a couple, and
because of how well he's been pitching. Yeah, I mean, a lot of his starts have been like
he's gonna come to earth when he gives up 3 earned.
I mean, a lot of his starts have been like 3-1, 4-2, stuff like that. So they've been close games, but they've been low scoring games because of his pitching. So we'll see, man. The Tigers. Like I said, every week we talk about.
I don't know if you have this up right now. I'm gonna throw you on the spot. But what was Anibal Sanchez's final line? Tonight
I had it up here just a second. I'll give it to you.
I'm very curious, as we were not watching this game live. No. And how do you guys feel, the listeners, Derek and myself will comment on this, how do you feel about 6:10 starts? 6:10.
Just
talk about getting
people
home
come from work and wanting to change and hurry up and get to the ballpark.
I know this is a Cleveland
7:10's early enough. I would love it if every game was 8 o'clock. Every game, but that's prime time.
And here's the thing: why people won't like that is think of the kids, think of the work.
I have the kids in bed by 9.
Is why Cleveland has the 6:10 start is because kids are still in school.
Absolutely.
You want to be kid friendly. Mm-hmm. You want to attract the kiddies to the ballpark because that's where your money's at.
Anibal Sanchez's final line, not too bad, but all 4 runs did go to him.
Okay.
7 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Here again, the 3 walks.
Yep. Didn't he have 7 his last start?
Something like that.
We talked about that.
No, that's just too much for a guy who has pinpoint control in the past. You've walked a boatload of guys, and 3 is even too many for me for Sanchez. Now, walks are something that I have a few pet peeves with baseball.
Right.
And one of them is walks for pitchers because I think that is something that I look at heavily. I just cannot stand walking a guy. It just drives me absolutely insane. Intentional walks to Bryce Harper, Nolan Arenado, I can live with that. Mm-hmm. But how wild Sanchez has been in his past couple starts, yes, it's an encouraging sign that he's been striking out a boatload, but the walks are going to bite you.
They will. They will. And the thing is that, I mean, he's still keeping up the strikeouts, but Sanchez, up until a couple years ago, he wasn't really known much for a lot of walks, was he?
No. He's always had that good control.
The control has
ever
since
control.
Last year, and I think he's still trying to redeem himself from
it's mechanics.
his poor year.
It's the mechanics that he cannot find his rhythm right now.
And throwing the wrong pitches at the wrong time.
Is that I don't know if what he's going to stick with the little turn, little whatever the shimmy thing that he does. I don't know what you want to call it, but I'm going to attest the walks to the whole mechanics. He's got flaws in the mechanics, and his stuff looks fine. The changeup has been very good for Sanchez, and that's his go-to pitch. The changeup is moving, dancing all over the place. He's going to get outs. He's going to get strikeouts. Mechanics, rhythm, tempo. He doesn't have it right now, and giving up 4 earned, I can live with that.
If you went 7 innings.
But when you're going against Corey Kluber and you face Corey Kluber now twice, and you give up 4,
I know
it's
definitely going to be a
if Corey Kluber's
momentum buster.
And if Corey Kluber's on, that's
we saw that in the second game of the season that we went to. It was Corey Kluber versus
and
Sanchez.
Yes, and everybody's like, oh well, damn, the Tigers can get to these ace pitchers.
Yep.
Yeah, well, sometimes not so much.
For the record, we're just talking about him. The Tigers' hottest hitter right now, Nick Castellanos, goes a 2-for-3 game and now batting a whopping .379 on the season.
That's a very pleasant surprise.
It is very pleasant. From batting from the 6th spot in the lineup.
Oh, maybe you should bump him up a little bit there, also.
Maybe
no,
switch up.
I'm kidding.
No.
Keep him where he's at.
You think? Yeah. You don't think you want to rotate up and put up into
you
6?
You move Castellanos out of that location. He starts seeing a lot of pitches.
The nervousness.
The pitches.
Starts in, oh my God, they're going to call on me now. They want me to bat 5th in the lineup. Holy cow! No. Don't mess with don't fix it if it ain't broken.
Exactly.
That's the best way to say it.
Keep him hot right now. Obviously, the JD Martinez experiment has worked for a couple games.
Yeah.
Keep JD where he's at. Keep Upton where he's at. Obviously, Upton's going to find his rhythm. I'm praying. Is how long will it take for Upton to get his rhythm? That's a big concern.
Summer months are very, very near. That's all I can say. All right, moving on from the Tigers, we want to wrap up things here because we're kind of going on a stretch here. You wanted to touch on the Kentucky Derby real quick. Kentucky Derby, big
Briefly,
deal.
Kentucky Derby segment here.
142nd annual.
Mm-hmm. And as much as the Kentucky Derby might put you to sleep and worry a little bit, tune in, look at some of the outfits, the hats. The traditions of the Kentucky Derby are just breathtaking. And I know if I had my Poppy on here, he could attest to this. He is from Kentucky. And
I was just going through the names of the horses, and I know that there is one that has is the favorite. 3-1 odds favorite. Nyquist, named after Red Wing forward Gus Nyquist.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't
put too much money on that.
Inconsistent right there. But Nyquist is the horse that I was going to take.
Yeah,
so
you got Nyquist as your 3-1 odd. Then your second in line would be Mohayman at 10-1, as well as Creator at 10-1. And your long shot in this race at a whopping 50-1 is Trojan Nation. So
Trojan Nation.
All these horses.
A USC fan.
All these horses weigh 126 pounds. How do you get that? How do you get 20 horses to all weigh the same? That's crazy.
You feed them right.
I guess you do.
I'm no horse expert.
Yeah, but Trojan Nation and Oscar nominated are both 50-1 odds to win the Kentucky Derby. So. Obviously, if you're a betting person,
obviously horse
you want to
racing-
go you want to go between the 30 to 40 odds. You don't want to go with probably the best odds. You're not going to win a lot of money. But if I was a betting man,
Do you remember how big horse racing's been the past couple of years?
for what is the race like? Literally,
California
it's a minute
Chrome,
long.
all that,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Horse racing's been in the past couple of years.
I'm going to go, if I was a betting man, there's 20 horses that I'm looking at right now. You don't have the list.
What's your trifecta there, Derek?
I'm going to go
if you know what that means.
Huh?
Do you know what the trifecta is?
What?
Want to go up to Northville Downs and start betting?
No. I'm not a horse fan. I'll probably watch it if there's nothing else on, but
you just want to watch it for some ridiculous hats,
yeah,
right?
Well, yeah, that's been a Kentucky tradition, So
I want to hear a good old Kentucky home.
I'm gonna go with my man Sam. He's a 20-1 odd. My man Sam. That's gonna be my horse. So
I'm going with Nyquist.
You're gonna go easy. You're not gonna be making a lot of money if Nyquist wins, but if Trojan Nation,
I don't bet
if
on
Trojan
horse
Nation or
racing.
Oscar nominated wins this, you're walking away with a nice
Last year,
season.
now the big event that happened last year, obviously everybody was taking the big favorite to win. He did win. I did take him to win. I was one horse away from getting the trifecta last year.
What is that?
That is placing first, second, and third.
Yeah.
Win,
place, or show.
Yeah, win, place, or show. So I was one horse away from winning that last year.
So you had.
Now,
so
if
you
only
had,
I went to Northville Downs.
You picked first and second, not third, or first and third.
The third horse was incorrect.
Oh, so you got first and second. All
The
right.
horse that I picked to finish third was like fifth or sixth or something like that. But I'm no expert on horse racing, but I'll give it a go. And every now and then, I guess you could say. I've been to Northville Downs, I think, once in my life or twice. I can't remember. I think I was a very young lad. But now that I'm older and I can actually legally bet, it would be kind of interesting to go and check out Northville Downs from a perspective is this is going to be cool, and I'm not going to think that I'm, like how probably you're thinking right now is horse racing lame and it's boring. Go in there like, hey, this could be fun. Let's watch some horse racing. Why not? You would not give horse racing a shot. Now, if you had the opportunity, I'm sure the Kentucky Derby is an outrageous price tag to go to.
Yes.
If you look up ticket prices.
Good luck getting a ticket.
But would you go if you were handed a ticket? Like,
yeah.
Oh, here, Derek.
Yeah.
Here's a ticket
for a 30-second or 40-second race or whatever it is. Yeah,
2 minutes.
Or 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah. Whatever. I'd go.
But the hoopla starts at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and the race is not until like 6:35.
Mm-hmm.
So you have talk about a huge pregame. Now, everybody says the Super Bowl pregame's crazy. The Kentucky Derby pre-show, whatever you want to call it, puts the Super Bowl show to shame.
It does.
Oh, my goodness. It is. And then they also have like another race, too, before the Kentucky Derby.
Louisiana something?
No, it's like the horses that are, how do you say it? Obviously, too young to compete in the Kentucky Derby, I believe.
Okay.
As I said,
you got me, man.
Pardon my horse racing knowledge.
Yes.
I'm no expert, so there you have it. But moving on from horse racing.
We're going to close out with Detroit Lions draft results. We'll save WWE News for next week because we're running over. Taylor Decker from Ohio State, the offensive tackle, which I'm so glad. The Detroit Lions did not
You're so glad?
Detroit Lions did not pick one wide receiver in this draft.
Even though you might potentially need a wide receiver?
You could trade for one or pick up a free agent. That's all there is to it. But I liked it. We needed it. We needed somebody on the O-line. And we also got Ashawn Robertson, defensive lineman.
That man is a huge individual.
Yeah, he is.
He is
21.
A beast.
He looks like he would probably intimidate the strip club bouncer, honestly.
He does look like
that
he's a strip
one.
club bouncer.
I give that one a solid A. I give the Taylor Decker pick. I give it a solid B plus. Then you got Graham Glasgow, the center.
There's one pick that I absolutely hate.
Jake Rudock.
Uh-huh.
He went seventh pick for the Lions. He went 6th round. This is shocking to me that he went 6 rounds.
Great pick there.
Yep. I really wasn't expecting Rudock to go that late, but
Connor Cook. Cook as well.
Yeah, Connor Cook as well. I think he went 3rd round. I couldn't believe that. So
he fell. Comments.
Yeah, the fact that that we still got some Michigan blood in the Lions, linemen. That's okay. I'll take it. But honestly,
he's the savior for when Matthew Stafford decides to break this season. No, he's not.
I think
Jake Rudock is. You can live with Jake Rudock backing up Matthew Stafford. And he's the guy that's going to save this organization? Because the Lions, the Lions aren't winning the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. It's not happening. Simple as that.
Whatever the cause, obviously Quinn did a great job, I think, with this draft, and he didn't mess around. I think actually he fired 2 scouts after this draft, too.
Right, yeah.
Towards the bottom, obviously, I think that they weren't too happy with the Jake Rudock pickup or the Dwayne Washington at running back. But, whatever the cause may be, the Lions got much stouter in the trenches. Mm-hmm. Miles Killebrew in the 4th round, I think.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like Killebrew. I just like the name.
Yeah, that gives. I think that gives them a ton of value and fits a little bit of a need as far as the safety position is concerned, because the Lions, we know that they need safeties. They added players in a few other positions of a need with a backup quarterback in Jake Rudock. He's probably going to be 3rd string, whatever. But a reserve defensive end, when you're talking about a guy like, Anthony Zettel. But for the most part, I think an overall draft, I'd give him probably a solid B.
No, I did not watch this draft live.
No, me either.
And I got the alert that Decker was drafted and Rudock was drafted.
Ohio State.
And I got a certain tweet from someone that was like, "Oh, the Lions just drafted some big bouncer guy." I'm like,
Robinson.
"What? Who?" Yeah. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I thought it was a joke, and I went and looked. I'm like, "Oh, this guy is a horse and a half. He's
not 21.
He looks like a guy that
check his birth certificate. I don't believe it.
Oh my goodness, this guy is just looks like he could be in professional wrestling, like as you just noted.
He does.
So he looks intimidating too, which the Lions definitely needed a guy that looks like that.
Yeah, we do. That defensive line could definitely use some shaping up, and I think that this guy might throw around some of the older vets too. Definitely, I think will make this team feel a little bit more younger, and quicker. So makes them stronger on that D line, which is what
this is your make or break year for Matthew Stafford and for Caldwell.
Yeah, and for Caldwell.
And I'm not saying that Rudock is going to be the saving grace if Stafford does plummet to the toilet. And I'm not saying fire Caldwell when the Lions have a terrible preseason or fire him now. But this is Caldwell's time. And I've been very patient and I've been very, I'm lost for words with Caldwell. I was calling for his head last year.
Yeah, but you got to give him.
And then I also I sat down and I was like, I'm going to give it that 3rd year.
Yep.
I wanted to put it in,
just like Brad
perspective. Kind of like the Brad Ausmus situation. As much as I would love to see Ausmus fired for some of his decision making,
yes.
I'm going to give Caldwell this year
benefit of the doubt.
I guess I can say the benefit of the doubt. I'll get. Exactly. That's what Jim Caldwell and Brad Ausmus do to me on a daily basis when I'm watching. Is the whole Tim Allen. Yeah, exactly. Brad Ausmus is doing that to me now.
Yes.
And Jim Caldwell will do that to me a few months from now.
So, overall, like I said, what are you going to give it? I'll give it a solid B.
I'd say B minus.
Okay.
I really
they filled holes.
I really hate the Rudock draft. I just absolutely hate the Rudock draft.
What are you going to do, man?
As much as Rudock was.
Well, you're not planning for your future to follow Matt Stafford for
5th year senior.
Well, he had to go somewhere. The Lions always pick up either a Michigan-born player, whether it be Michigan or Michigan State. They always seem to draft somebody from the respective.
I'd rather have had a wide receiver from Michigan named Butt.
Jake Butt, he's a tight end.
Wide receiver, tight end.
Tight end, man.
Make him a wide receiver. And go ahead.
Look what they did with Denard Robinson. Made him a running back for the Jaguars, and it suited him a lot better than it did the quarterback.
Now, Jake Butt, for whatever it might be, I don't know why I foresee him having a good NFL career. I could be dead wrong on that. Whether he's a tight end wide receiver or not, I would make him a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I just foresee
he's got the size is huge. He has a huge presence, but whatever fits him most. I mean, once you can see him work out, preseason games, he could have a decent career, but injuries could also be a factor too. So we'll have to look out for that. But overall, the Lions filled a lot of voids, a lot of holes in their team, especially offensively and defensively on the line.
I have to do it. I'm sorry. It's driving me insane looking at this cup and not talking WWE just for a split second. End the Lions segment. Close with this garbage, meaning Ryback. Pre-showstopper.
Okay, so Ryback, real quick. We're not going to go off on a tangent.
It's a big in the news situation. What he's doing,
because what he's doing is very shades of CM Punk like. Is he basically walked out at this past Monday's Raw, He was in line to be in the U.S. title Battle Royal along with 20 some other wrestlers. He wasn't in line to win it. That was going to Rusev, which I'm happy.
Hooray.
I'm happy for that. But Ryback feels like talent should be paid equally because he made a very valid point on his Tumblr account the other day when he made a statement about this whole thing, saying that it's WWE who makes you marketable, not how well you wrestle, not how well you are. They control the results. It's not about wins and losses. It's about how marketable WWE decides to make you. John Cena is making a whopping $9.5 million. That is more than $3 million more than what Triple H makes. Triple H makes $6 million. John Cena is not even corporate, and that's just his base salary. Ryback is not even making $1 million. He's lucky that he's saved his money, as he has said, where he can be without work for a while and support his family, support himself, whatever. But I agree with a lot of the things that Ryback says because Vince McMahon, out of touch. Vince McMahon, 70 years old. He wants to, instead of, basing everything off of, how well you wrestle and how well you put yourself over or put over other talent. Mm-hmm. Ryback is saying that, he has been a mainstay in this company for the past 5 or 6 years. He's put guys over when he's been asked to.
Put guys over. Now that's an interesting point that you just made.
Because you have to be willing to lose matches in order to have your job. If you go out there and Vince says, all right, you basically got to lay down for so-and-so, if you go out there and you do the opposite, your ass is out of a job.
I have a hard time thinking that Ryback has earned the credibility to even say, and you even speak for him or whatever you just spoke of, that he is putting over anyone. Now, putting over someone is this is my example of putting over someone. Chris Jericho lost at Payback to Dean Ambrose. That's putting over. Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar. That's putting over. Brock Lesnar put Roman Reigns over. The Undertaker is putting over Brock Lesnar. The Undertaker's put over CM Punk in the past. Triple H did his very best. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, they put each other over. There's guys that can do that. Ryback has no credibility. He has no
wrestling skill.
His skills.
He takes years off of guys' life. To quote CM Punk on that, is that I have seen the recklessness of one Ryan Reeves in the ring, and I feel like he is just a big roided up monster. He's not the greatest wrestler. I mean, neither is John Cena, neither is Roman Reigns. Bigger guys.
John Cena has other things that makes him valuable.
He does. He has a character. Ryback does not have a character. Walking out to the ring in a Rob Van Dam wannabe one piece and basically hitting your head and going, yeah, feed me more. This is not, that's bubblegumish. That is just, it's cartoonish.
The 90s are over.
The 90s are over. You would have been great, Ryback, in 1996 when Goldberg bursted onto the scene. You could have been the answer to WCW's Goldberg.
That's when he probably would have been successful in the wrestling business.
He would have been huge, dude. If he would have countered the jackhammer to the spear or whatever, what is it called? The shell shock.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing 20 years ago. But now it's been there, done that. And you would think that all these big roided up guys that Vince McMahon seems to have a hard on for, that he usually always puts in the main event spot. He's not done that with Ryback. Ryback had a very
It's a new era, as everybody's been saying. The days of these musclehead guys are over. Just look at the top talents in WWE right now and the guys that are coming up.
Well, Vince is still, obviously the guys with the names are still going to be there. You're still going to have the John Cenas, the Triple H's, the Roman Reigns', the Big Shows, the Kanes, the Undertakers. They're still there, but they've taken a back seat to the guys like the Seth Rollinses, to the Cesaros, the Dean Ambroses, Bray Wyatt. When he's healthy, he's a bigger guy, but not muscular.
He has character, and it's compelling to an audience.
And that is more. That's another thing that just burns my ass. I know we're going off topic here, but Bray Wyatt is another guy that has so much charisma and so much character, and he has wrestling ability, but he is never booked right. He is never going to be in the WWE World Title picture because of creative has no idea what the hell they want to do with him, and that frustrates the living hell out of me. Is that you got to break him away from the Wyatt family. You got to make Bray Wyatt a singles competitor.
And when he comes back, you don't know.
Yeah.
Whether he's back at SummerSlam.
He'll be back at a face. Well, Seth Rollins is due back at SummerSlam. I don't know. Bray Wyatt he's dealing with, I think, a leg injury of some kind. But the roster depth is very shallow right now. And I know John Cena's due back soon. Seth Rollins is due back in a couple of months. Randy Orton should be due back soon. So you just had Cesaro come back a few weeks ago, so that kind of helps out a little bit. But right now the main feud is Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, which some people like, some people don't like, because they all know what is going to happen in the outcome. that. Now, putting over somebody would be Roman Reigns putting over AJ Styles.
But to be honest with you, AJ Styles needs to put over Roman Reigns. AJ Styles
has been around here before. He's not won the WWE Championship.
As much as AJ Styles might be the newcomer and the newbie, but he is that veteran presence.
He's a veteran, yes. He looks young. He acts young. He is the newcomer in WWE, but he has been around this boat many times. Winning the WWE Championship, I think, would not be that huge of a deal for Styles. It would mean that he made it.
For him personally, it would be. But
personally, but for him, really, he don't need it. He is, I think, here to put over guys like Roman Reigns, but he's playing the face in this angle. Roman Reigns is the heel. He's getting booed. He's not showing the heel antics aside from the "I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy" bullshit.
Stop! You sound like my father right now. I did watch the show with my dad. I did watch Payback, or what was it? Payback on Sunday. The pay-per-view sucked so bad I forgot it.
I know, I did.
And
no Finn Balor. You watched it only because you thought Finn was going to debut, didn't you? Don't lie. You watched it for that sole reason.
I did watch it with my dad, which was cool.
You were over at your dad's house?
Yeah, had Isabella's party.
Nice.
Happy second birthday.
Yes.
Had a good time. It was freezing outside. And we watched Payback. My dad got a Google Cast.
Chromecast.
Not a Chromecast. It's some other device.
So I thought he got the network.
He does, but he took it from his phone or
because
whatever.
He doesn't have a PS4.
He doesn't have any video game system, so he had to find a way to make it work. And I was like, oh, okay,
nice.
So we got this device, and here we go. We watched it, and it was cool. Good time, have some pizza and stuff, hang out with Dad and all that stuff. So, but as a whole, the pay-per-views sucked.
The match qualities have been good. I feel like the Roman Reigns AJ outcome was predictable. I knew AJ wasn't winning the match. There was too many near falls. I feel like they kind of overdid it with the near falls. The best match probably on the card overall was probably the Divas title match. You can criticize me all you want, but I felt like...
Do not say Divas. That is from...
I'm sorry. Women's title. Women's title match. I still have Divas on my mind. Charlotte versus... Natalia.
Jesus.
The ending with Bret Hart putting Ric Flair in the sharpshooter was absolutely terrible.
Bret Hart looked like he was dying. The
Chicago screw job ending was bad. I feel like that was too cliche. It was really outdone.
Oh, thank you, WWE.
I didn't like the outcome, but the match itself was really, really spot on. I gave it a solid A-. But the title match was all right too. Payback as a whole was probably a B-. But
I didn't think it was all that
do
great.
you like the idea of Shane and Stephanie running Raw together? It takes away from that main heel antagonist authority figure. Now you got two. You got Stephanie kind of playing the role of tweener. She'd get booed, cheered, whatever. And you got the major face in Shane. Everybody loves Shane. And they're both kind of
I don't know. I'm starting to take Stephanie.
I am. I know. Stephanie's freaking looking hot. I know. I get it.
No, it's not that.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it is a little bit. But I do like the whole what they're taking with this. Is I'm just thinking what they're going to do with this.
Yeah, how is it going to come?
How is this going to play out?
I think the diehard wrestling fan in me wants to think it's going to come all to a head at SummerSlam with Triple H versus Shane,
and Triple H destroys Shane.
And Triple H just destroys Shane. That's how Shane leaves the company again for another 7 years. But we can always dream. Taking Shane off TV probably wouldn't be a good idea. I feel like
Shane's the hottest thing in WWE right now. As weird as that is.
I know. Leave for 7 years and come back.
As we can attest to that.
Yep, and it's cool because Shane was a big stake in the Attitude Era, and everybody remembers him. So, the Raws lately have not been good from a storyline aspect, but I think for a match quality, they've been really good, especially the ones that Shane were booking. Obviously, we know it's not really Shane booking them,
Obviously.
But as an on-screen character, he's doing his job, and they've been all right matches, but there's no storylines behind them. And to close out with the Ryback thing, he's at a contract dispute right now. The last I heard is that him and Vince, both sides were very far apart on a new deal. Ryback feels entitled.
TNA.
Yeah, they're going to call him
Ring of Honor.
No, I
whatever.
heard his name in TNA would be Ryfront. Crickets.
Cue the crickets.
And if he decided to go to Lucha Underground, he would be El Rybaco. There was a meme on Facebook I saw. Well, Ryback has 3 options. He could either go to TNA, he could go to Ring of Honor, or not Ring of Honor, but he could go to Lucha Underground or
shame Ring of Honor that matter.
I'm sorry. So, it is what it is. Ryback,
we can go to Takedown Pro
I gained
Wrestling.
a little bit. Reading the article, obviously I'm not going to quote it word for word on here, but I read it earlier today, and my respect for Ryback kind of went up a little bit more because he wants, I think, fair. He wants a little bit too fairness. but he did suck up to a lot of the less fortunate wrestlers that are not always on the main cards. But yeah, I think that a lot of it has to do with sucking off Vince at the right time. And it's not always about who works the hardest. And it's, it's really weird. It's a market. It's all about marketability. And John Cena is the
If you're
biggest
selling
guy.
tickets, if you're selling shirts.
The New Day.
Like the New Day.
They're the new guys. They're the new moneymakers.
Who doesn't want the Booty-O shirt?
You break these guys up, you have nothing. You almost. It's a shame now that you've made them into such a huge. They're probably the biggest tag team since DX, and the fact that if you break these guys up, even though they're great, probably singles guys,
together they're just
they are
gold.
You cannot break them up, and I'm sure that they are making very good money off of their merchandise sales alone. They probably got a nice little stake in that. But
love to have that Booty-O shirt.
you gotta keep them. You gotta keep them together. You gotta ride with it. You cannot screw up that gimmick. They are the hottest faces right now in the company, and they're a tag team trifecta.
Hilarious.
They are. So, anyways,
get well soon, Enzo Amore.
Get well soon, Enzo. That was a scary fall there, but he'll probably be back in action in about a month or so. So. Well, with that being said, we're going to, I think, call this one a podcast. 50 minutes. We've gone an hour and 50 minutes, Danny. So
Holy
I think,
turtle shells.
Yeah, this is our longest show. We were just talking about, from last week's show, we should be able to end this one just after 9. It is almost 10 o'clock. So with that, we're going to call this one a podcast. So for myself, Derek, and my co-host, Danny, this has been episode number 12 of D&D Sports Chat. We will see you guys all next week.
Adieu.